Recently defeated an unpopular governor of Kentucky, Matt Bevin, on his way out the door, he decided to go ahead and pardon many convicted criminals, many convicted of heinous crimes. But even with that, one particular stood out. It was Micah Schoettle, who was convicted of sexual assault, rape of a 9-year-old girl, amongst other things. Let's go to some of what happened. Matt Bevin pardoned Micah, who was convicted last year of raping a 9-year-old child in Kenton County. He was sentenced last year to 23 years in prison. Bevin wrote that Schoettle was convicted of a heinous crime based, quote, based only on testimony that was not supported in any way by physical evidence. He added that the case was investigated and prosecuted in a manner that was sloppy at best. I do not believe that the charges against Mr. Schoettle are true. Well, Matt Bevin also went on a radio show to explain himself further and the basis behind what he had to say. Let's hear what he had to say there.
A child rapist, though, that is the lowest form of human life.
Absolute scum of the earth. You know, for people who have raped children, anybody who volitionally assaults another person, and any kind of a sexual assault in particular, and especially on a child, to me is reprehensible. To assume, however, that everybody who has ever been accused of this, and even convicted of this, has in fact done this, is a big assumption to make. It really is. This was the second one. This is a guy named Micah Schoettle, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. Let me tell you about this fellow. He was accused of sexually assaulting repeatedly for over the course of almost 2 years, well over a year, every single Wednesday, I believe it was, repeatedly sexually assaulting her and her sister, this girl claimed. She said that every week he came in and sexually assaulted me and my sister. Well, the sister, who was in the same room every time, denied all of it. These girls both were examined medically. They were examined physically. There was zero evidence, zero. Both their hymens were intact. This is perhaps more specific than people would want, but trust me, if you have been repeatedly sexually violated as a small child by an adult, there are going to be repercussions of that physically and medically. There was zero evidence of that.
Matt Bevin, trust me. Trust me.
The new T.I.
Yeah, so look guys, you think it can't get worse. Wait till you find out why he might have done the pardons. Okay, that's a bombshell that's gonna come in a minute, okay? But I wanna prove, look, we don't need, he's a monster. I mean, that stands on its own. But nonetheless, we're gonna give you even more facts to show how ridiculous he is. The Kentucky medical examiner, Dr. George Nichols, says he clearly doesn't know medicine and anatomy, and he also doesn't know the law. And he was so mad, he said, fortunately, I didn't have to report to that a-hole, okay? So the medical examiner's like, no, that doesn't work, but hold on, even more. Forensic Science International says, quote, a survey of pediatric child abuse rape cases indicated that only 2.1% of subjects examined had visible lesions on the hymen. In other words, in 98% of the case, the hymen is still intact. And this idiot monster goes on and says, oh, what? So what? The hymen wasn't broken. She's 9 years old. She's 9 years old. Why did you do this? So let's get to why you did this. It wasn't one guy. If he thought for whatever reason he got obsessed with that case and he thought he was innocent, whatever, there's no excuse for it, right? No, he pardoned 428 people. Rapists, child rapists, murderers on his way out. What the hell is he doing? And so these are the Republicans who claim to be tough on crime. If a Democrat did this, the whole country would explode. Now, so what could possibly be his motivation? There's two possibilities. Because I was reading through this going, Jesus, I've never seen anything this monstrous. So one is, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you voted me out of office? Why don't I let all the rapists and murderers go?
Deal with this.
Like a Bane move out of Batman.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, but no, it's worse. So it turns out, at least for one of the guys, Patrick Baker, who committed murder, robbery, impersonating a peace officer, tampering with physical evidence. By the way, these people are all convicted, okay? He'd only served 2 years of his 19-year sentence. Why is he out? Well, probably a coincidence, but Baker's family members raised $21,500 at a 2018 fundraiser for Matt Bevin to alleviate debt incurred in his first gubernatorial campaign. Other family members also made direct personal donations during and after the event. Just when you thought catering to donors could not get any more craven and immoral. Bevin says, no, wait, I will let murderers and child rapists go free if some of their family members are my donors. Wow.
Wait, did they pool the money from the 428 people who are being pardoned?
So it's
to donate to Matt Bevin? Because like, hats off to those total criminals. But like, that's so bizarre.
No, but look, we've gotten used to corporations bribing our politicians, but the national media doesn't call it bribery. They're like, no, ExxonMobil was doing charity, right? And by the way, a lot of times they break the law, then they give money to politicians so they can get away with it. The people who invented that are the Koch brothers. They had been stealing oil from Native Americans, and when they got caught, they realized, oh, I'll just buy the politicians. And they bought a senator from one of the Midwestern states, and I remember Kansas because the senator they bought at the time was Bob Dole, and those senators happened to dismiss the case. So criminal corporate interests have been buying our politicians for a long time. So then criminals, it was only a matter of time before they're like, oh, we could bribe anybody, and they'll do whatever we want. So hey, our family member murdered people. Let's just buy the politicians. Let's just give them a bribe. They'll do anything.
Then pardon a bunch of others to just like kind of conceal the one dude who gave you money. I don't get why you had to pardon all the other child rapists. That's what I'm trying to ask.
No, Francesca, I'm 100% with you. I thought the same thing. I wondered the same thing. Now at this point, those are all facts. Now it's speculation, right?
Sure.
Speculation is. One was the Bain move, like, oh yeah, I'll let the worst people in Kentucky out. That'll show you guys. The other is, if I release 428, they might not catch the 1, 2, or 3 that were my donors. Right. And by the way, that's a legal maneuver that lawyers do, not in terms of releasing terrible people, but if you're looking for a document, they'll send the other side so many documents that you won't be able to find the needle in a haystack. So in fact, Matt Bevin talking about the child rapist might be a way to distract people from his donor that he released. Like, because everybody's talking about what an unbelievably monstrous thing it was to talk about how the hymen wasn't broken for understandable reasons. Meanwhile, he's like, did the check clear? Did the check? Right. Okay, good. Don't talk about that guy, don't talk about that guy. Talk about the child rapist I released.
It's definitely the last question I was asking. I said, man, you already did it. You had something you said that was written about it that was absolutely ridiculous. Then you go on radio, and I guess the fact that Terry Miners, who was on the radio show, was challenging him on it for 17 minutes, then at least I was like, man, you should probably just go home and sit down right now. But no, he's out there vocally saying what he had to do.
Please don't ever say that word ever again. Also, I can't, just don't say hymen.
I know.
Don't say that word.
So, by the way, another rapist he released was Dayton Jones, first-degree sodomy, first-degree wanton endangerment, first-degree distribution of matter portraying sexual performance by a minor. It was a 15-year-old boy at a party, raped so violently he had internal injuries. And it was filmed and posted on social media, and Matt Bevin let him go. Yep. Matt Bevin let him go. Jesus Christ, man.
I hope there were at least some inmates in on non-violent drug offenses. Silver lining, marijuana possession, pardoned.
The worst of the worst were released. And this is the corruption of our politics at its logical, horrific conclusion, where you could bribe any politician and you get this. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.